Today, we're going to go ahead and take whole numbers and divide them by fractions. There are a couple of ways to do this. I'm going to go ahead and show some examples. Here's our first example. I have 10 cookies. I cut each of them in half. How many halves was I able to make? So first, let's go ahead and start off by making our expression. We have 10 divided by 1/2. Okay? And really, if you think about it, we're trying to figure out how many halves fit into 10. If you take 10 and split it into halves, how many halves will you have total? I'm going to take a look here at this pre-drawn image to show that. Okay? It requires us to think to figure out how many halves are in one, right? So you have 2 halves in one of them. And if there's a total of 10, you can see that there's a total of 20 halves. So our answer is 20. 10 divided by 1/2 is 20. There's another way to think about this, or another way to represent this. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do this with sort of like the standard algorithm of dividing fractions. So let's see here. If I have 10 divided by 1/2, you can always multiply by the inverse, also known as the reciprocal, and that will get you the same answer. So we have 10, and we keep 10 the same. And if we change this division to multiplication and multiply by the inverse, or reciprocal, so instead of 1/2, it's 2/1, we'll get our answer. And of course, you could think of 10 as a fraction, right, which would just be 10/1. So I'm going to rewrite that to make it easier. 10/1. So now we have 10 times 2, which is 20, and 1 times 1, which is 1. And 20/1 is still equal to 20. So we get the same answer. This next problem is a two-part problem that I want you to try on your own. After you've tried it, I want you to go ahead and compare it with my answer. So here's the question. I ordered 2 pizzas for my family. We each are hoping to eat 1/3 of pizza each. How many 1/3s will we have in all? That is pretty much the division problem. After that, the second part question says, and will I have enough for a family of 5? So it is a two-part question. I'm going to get you started. So our division problem, we have 2 pizzas. Okay, and we're dividing it in thirds. How many thirds will we have in all? So go ahead and pause here and figure this out on your own. Okay, there are multiple ways to solve this. You can solve it using basically the standard algorithm of dividing fractions. I'm going to go ahead and do that first. So 2, if you think of it as a fraction, is 2/1. So that stays the same. Your divisions become multiplication. And then your 1/3 is going to flip to be 3/1. That flip of that fraction, the new fraction is called its reciprocal or its inverse. So now we just multiply. A way to remember this is keep, change, flip. So 2 times 3 is 6, and 1 times 1 is 1. So 6/1 is equal to 6 1/3 pieces. So that brings us to our second part of the question. Will I have enough for a family of 5? We will, because 6 is greater than 5. We'll have 6 1/3s, and there'll be 1/3 left over. So let's go ahead and represent this now as in picture form. Okay, so now if I have 2 pizzas, 1, 2, you'll have to pretend that my pizza is a little bit more round, and we're going to split them into thirds. How many thirds are there in total? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there we have it. We have the exact same answer. So 2 divided by 1/3 is 6. And that's our answer. And the second part of the question is definitely a yes. We will have enough. Delicious.